Hello, everyone, and welcome back to This Week in Guns. Thanks for tuning in. It's brought to you by Patriot Company, VZGrips, MAF Corporation, and For Patriots Food. This show offers commentary on the latest firearms industry news, information, and buzz. I'm your host, Matthew Lozier, and I'm joined by the High Ratman.
It's me.
Yes, it's you. So, I see you are in quite possibly the most lovely place in the universe.
Yeah, I'm in a lovely place. It's a nice rolling green field. I'm looking for the other half of my AR. You see, this barrel stands about half of the length of what it should be.
It was not hard for me to pick which AR I wanted to bring because I'm going to the range. It's actually my birthday, and I decided I would bring just one of each of my favorite types of gun to shoot. And like you know, we've got a handful of ARs. And I looked at them and I'm like, A1 or A2. That was pretty much the only choice. Right?
Yep.
Although you've got the Commie Colt.
That's true. My A2 of choice is the Commie Colt. Colt made some 7.62 by 39 ARs right before the assault weapons bans, the federal one, because there were states where localities say that you can't do a big hunt with a 223 because it's too small. And of course, people point to this, who are off on our first tangent right away. People point to these laws as it is proof that you can't hunt deer with a 223, which is stupid because you absolutely can. People hunt deer with like 357 Magnums or 44s, which is significantly less energy than a 223, and they have no problem killing them. And so it's like people will hang their hat on like, oh, here's my epic gun control argument. You think the 223, the AR is too strong? Some states say that you can't even hunt with it. That means it's weak. That means we can have it. We can have the weak guns. We got weak guns. Yeah. Meanwhile, like that's stupid from a standpoint of you're conceding that they can ban the strong guns, which is dumb. Also, you're hanging your hat on the same politicians who ban AR-15s also somehow understand hunting. And I'll be honest with you, they don't. They've probably never seen a deer, let alone pointed a gun at one, let alone shot one. So like you using the 223 is just too weak to kill a deer. It wouldn't work. It's certainly less lethal than 308, but it's definitely capable of killing a deer. So it's just such a stupid thing. Don't be that guy. Don't do the 223 is actually really weak and underpowered and designed to wound, because no, that's stupid. It wasn't, and it doesn't, and you're dumb.
Yeah, no, that is quite dumb. I used to say that before I read.
me too.
Yeah,
because there was some FUD boomer somewhere on the internet at some point. It's like here's the convincing argument. It takes 3 guys out of the battlefield. Which I
remember parroting that. Oh my god, I feel so embarrassed.
It was interesting talking with like combat veterans who have like you've been around times where guys get shot, and they're like, yeah, no, you don't call a timeout when a guy gets shot in the middle of a firefight. It's not like the movies where like everybody's like, oh, stop shooting, we got to pull him to cover. Like if he's down, you're probably worried about not getting shot at more so than like, oh, let's go and play butt buddies with our buddies.
Yeah. No, you got 3 guys. We're gonna drag him back.
Yeah, we have to drag him all the way back to the field hospital, and then it'll take the field hospital more resources to patch him up than it would for a nation to raise a man to 18 years of age. Oh, wait, no, wait, because that takes 18 years, doesn't it?
Right.
It'd be a lot more efficient if you were just killing them.
Yeah, but that's why we did it. That's why,
because it takes 3 guys out of the field.
3. Yeah, you take 3 because they're not gonna try to fix him if he's dead. Yeah. But yeah. So okay, speaking of that, we're gonna touch on the story that we're not gonna touch on because, like, speaking of the stupid dogma arguments that we like to get into on Twitter, I think one of our favorite ones is when people do the whole, the AR-15 is not a military firearm, right? Yeah, people do that whole the M16 is the military firearm. You can select to fire, and the AR-15 you cannot.
I've been into it with some people in this one, man. It's so tough.
No, it's so good. Well, especially because when we've got all of the evidence that, in short version for you guys following along at home, the AR-15 was designed specifically for military adoption.
At the request of the military.
Yeah. At the request of the military, the M16 was a derivation of the AR-15. And in fact, the first M16 said Colt AR-15 M16.
Right. Like AR-15 proper is like the guns Armalite made, and they made 20 of them, and they never really sold any of them. Like they gave some to the military for testing, and they got most of those back.
Right.
And then Armalite sells it to Colt, and the whole time it's a select fire rifle. Semi-automatic AR-15 doesn't exist at this point. They sell the design to Colt. Colt makes a bunch of guns. Some of these guns go to Vietnam for field testing. Some of them are trials testing as far as, are we going to adopt this as the U.S. military? And then the Air Force buys a ton of them. It's like 8,500, and then they buy like 60,000 more. And so the Air Force buys the AR-15, and it's not called the M16 yet. The M16 is like a half track at this point in time.
Right.
Like the only M16 where that term is used is not a small arm. And so, eventually Colt start selling civilian semi-automatic versions, and they call it the Colt AR-15 model SP1, because Colt adopts a naming system that makes sense, because Armalite just had like a family of rifles, and like if you look at serial number 1 Armalite made versus like serial number 20, they were changing constantly. It wasn't actually serial production. This was just prototype number 1 versus prototype 20. Colt's the first one to do serial production. They're serially producing select fire rifles first, selling them to the Air Force, and they're seeing combat in Vietnam before they eventually make a semi-automatic version, which they start selling. They get approval to sell from ATTD, so the predecessor of the ATF's tech branch. They get that approval in late 63, and they start selling them to civilians in 1964. The military has been using the guns for multiple years now. They've been killing people with the guns for multiple years now. The gun was always designed as a select fire gun. So getting off way into the weeds about, it was designed for hunters to do a lay-epic hunting, and NSSF told me it's a sporting rifle for modern sporting.
Yeah, modern sports, the modern sports rifle.
The thing that you've done there is completely redefine a term, and so it's very
no,
interesting.
Hold on. AR is not automatic rifle. It's Armalite's rifle.
And this is a good one too, because Armalite, Armalite maintains it was Armalite rifle, and the people who worked there said it's either the AR either stood for Armalite or Armalite rifle, and it's not like it was well defined, because then they started making shotguns, and so it's like, but did it actually? Who knows and who cares? It means Armalite at some rate. Yeah. Now, whenever Colt buys it, Armalite's a failing company. Colt knows this. They bought the design from them. Colt in 1965 rebrands the entire lines of guns to be the CAR, Colt's Automatic Rifle -15. They want a dead company's name, a totally different company's name, off of their gun. Why would they want it attached? Now this rebrand more or less fails, and then Colt stops saying like this is a Colt Automatic Rifle. But I think that's sort of the genesis of people getting messed up on terms. But the trouble is Colt rebrands their semi-automatic guns also automatic rifle, which for the uninitiated,
it's documented that the Colt semi-automatic SP1s were referred to as automatic rifle,
and automatic at this time, and even automatic today, automatic doesn't mean fully automatic, it means automatic loading.
It means self-loading.
Colt in the 1960s, guess what they called the 1911? It's the Colt government model automatic pistol. Didn't mean they had a switch on the Glock. That's just what things were called, like the Browning automatic 5 shotgun.
Though, is that every single but actually you hear from the pro gun side when talking about the AR-15 is demonstrably false.
I'm sure
like it's weird though, because when they do this, they think that they're doing this slam dunk
they think it's like get wrecked liberals, but you're making up history to lie about it. And if the liberal that you're trying to get wrecked understands like even how to use Google, they're going to know the facts, and you're going to look like an idiot.
Well, it's because the implicit argument you're making, the implicit grant that you're making, is that there are a certain category of weapons that it is okay to regulate, and because this one isn't derived from the selector one, you can't regulate it,
which is just stupid.
But then, the actual history defeats your argument, because it is literally a direct
select fire gun existed, and then they made a semi-automatic version of it
and called it the automatic rifle.
Right. It's such like a twisty turning. Like the only way that you can win is just be honest and be like, yeah, we can own guns derived from military guns. In
we can
fact,
own all of them actually.
if you look at the history of popular guns in the US, just like down the line, it's the ones that were the military guns.
Right. And also if you look at the legislative history of the NFA, banning machine guns was never considered constitutional. They were like, no, you can't just ban them. We're getting around it by putting a tax on them. So like the 86 FOPA and all that, it just doesn't. Anyway, so the point I was getting at with this was we used to have a lot of fun on Twitter having these arguments with people, and then it slowed down, right? Like you weren't getting all these whoever they are is making these arguments, attempting to own the libs. It kind of toned down, and then a notable Vegas happened in the northeastern United States, which we're not going to talk about because as of right now, they haven't even caught the guy. So, like, basically nothing's even confirmed.
It's a developing enough story that, like, yeah, it did happen, but you're still waiting on details, and then running your mouth early is the only way to end up looking like an idiot. So
yeah. So unlike the rest of GunTube, we're gonna elect not to do that. But we'll say we do know this is terrible, horrible thing. The other end of it is that the AR-15 trolling market is
my god. So today we had two new great pieces of AR-15 lore, such as the military owns the patent, right? It's one of those military patents that the military can get. The military owns the patent for the M4 and the M16 firing pin, and they're made of titanium. And that's why in the military they say never lose your firing pin, because they can't let civilians own titanium spec firing pins for their AR-15s.
In the military manual.
His proof for this was he made it the fuck up. And then there was another guy who also made it the fuck up, where he was saying that no civilian ARs are chambered in the civilian 223 caliber. The military guns are in 5.56, and if you try shooting, because the 5.56 NATO is a different grain weight, and if you try putting that in an AR-15, the firing pin might make contact, but it won't be safe.
It won't be safe.
That's true. That's deep AR-15 lore. And then I was sitting here thinking that, it's weird that they designed 223 Remington from 222 Remington specifically to make it more lethal, again, at the request and requirement of the military. But I guess that's wrong. It's actually the civilian round. It's the civilian one.
Yeah, no, they had the civilian round and then said, can you make it do the heavier bullet?
Yeah. Well, we needed to penetrate a helmet.
Yeah.
And 222 at the time, I think, was a flat-based bullet, and they wanted it Spitzer to make it do more better at a longer range.
It's pretty much just a longer neck, right?
Yeah, they lengthened the case somewhat.
The entire, so you get a little bit more volume and a longer neck.
A little bit more volume, and then could have a little bit longer bullets, which in the long run helped them a lot, because if they'd stuck with 222, it would have fucked them pretty hard. Because once they start wanting to do tracers, and then lead-free projectiles were like the bullet sticking way further back into the case than you would ordinarily perceive.
Right.
It certainly helped them there.
Yeah. But yeah, so anyway, that's all been interesting. Next up, also, we're not going to talk about the whole war, because I think we should probably stick to national politics, unless we're going to just make up or make fun of other countries, which we're going to elect not to do.
You don't understand. This is proof that gun laws in the U.S., Joe Biden is over.
Oh yeah, no, this is proof, because I guess we are gonna
no, I give up.
No, the heckin' Netanyahu went and he issued a Galil-Areno to all of the guys.
Yeah, just like in now the U.S. in the U.S. Democrat, they can't say nothing. Are they anti-Semitic?
Yeah,
yeah. This is politics, and we're not reactionaries.
Yeah. Yeah, he went around and he gave everybody the heckin' Galil-Arenos.
You guys should argue about cool stuff, such as like the 5 different names that the military had for 5.56 before they called it 5.56. Like the Air Force called it one thing, and the Army called it one thing, and they changed it a couple of times. Like at one point, it was 5.64 by 45.
Whoa!
And what changed was literally nothing. They just kept changing the name because they didn't know what they were doing.
They're always like, it's like whoever's holding the calipers is who gets to
No, you're measuring them wrong. Your hands are shaking. Give it here. Put out another bullets, and it's different now. That's a good, healthy thing to argue about, is what the actual caliber's name is, because no one knows.
Yeah, that's another. Yeah, that is another. Argue about what you guys want to go out and argue on Twitter. Argue about, like, let's set a, what are we going to measure going forward when we name calibers? I think it should be. I think it should be the largest diameter on the projectile, but
Largest diameter on the projectile, but then you add 3,000s, and then you round to the nearest number that sounds cool, divide by 2, add 1, then multiply by 2, and then if it comes out being closer to another more different cool number, go with that one. It's like 351.
And then you take that number and you anagram it into the alphabet until it comes up with a popular Judeo-Christian first name, and then you just name the cartridge that.
That's true.
Yeah.
And then Magnum at the end.
Yeah. We have Douglas Magnum and Douglas Super Magnum.
What's the difference? I don't know.
Anyways, so as for what's next, I don't think anyone listening to this has not heard about the Vickers catastrophe. You know what's been going on with Larry Vickers.
Oh man, it's the best thing about this is, as usual, the guys who are first to the punch are also just dead wrong.
Yeah.
There's like a whole net of stuff going on. I guess the long and short of it is Mr. Larry Vickers has pled guilty to essentially 2 things. One of them is like a conspiracy to abuse law letters, which is something that I've been trying to warn people is like, it's a thing that a lot of FFLs do.
Yeah, no, we both picked up on that, and we're like,
are the ATF's aware of this, and they are trying, like they've always been trying to crack down on it, but like doing it in high profile and admitting to what you're doing in text and email is probably not smart.
Well, and also like we kind of picked up on it in the context of YouTube, where you know we're like, people should probably stop.
Right, like there was a notable example that I've since stopped mentioning since this Larry Vickers thing, where there was a YouTuber who got like a really cool machine gun, and he said, "Oh yeah, I got a law letter because my local police guy said that I could get a law letter to demo this for him." And it's like, dude, just don't make a video saying that we got this gun then and make a bunch of videos with that. It's a hairy situation, and that's essentially what like the first thing they got that Larry's pled guilty to was there was a couple of cops, and he would send them more or less a blank letter where it was like, oh, go ahead and sign your name here, and then I'm going to import a bunch of guns, and maybe we'll demo them to you.
Right.
And he was then importing a large quantity of guns, more than were, because the ATF, as far as they're concerned, and their little opinions they put out, you're only supposed to get as many demo guns as you need to demo them. So they've said that you could have 2 of the same gun to demo if you were demoing it to a whole police department. He was maybe demoing it to demoing it to little bitty police departments, and needing 2 is certainly not something the ATF would be happy about. And then he was getting a bunch of them, and then he and the other guy that he was conspiring to import demo guns with was then selling some of them to the civilian market or like to other SOTs. It's just a not a great situation to be in.
Right. But like so, the small arms stuff isn't like the big issue here. And that's what everybody like in our community wants to focus on, because, well, that's what we deal with, right? Small arms.
Right.
But it was really the like, and I'm not saying that this is a bad thing to do. In fact, I think it's kind of funny, right? You know, working with the enemies of your government, I think it's hilarious. But the like blatant buddy relationship with Russia and like checks from Russia and like sharing technical data with Russia and
the second thing there he pled guilty to was there's like this great big conspiracy. The indictments are a trip to read, where like I couldn't believe what I was reading. Both because like, wow, this is so ballsy, but then at the same time like, oh my god, why would you, like, if you're doing this, you admit in text to the guys you're conspiring with that you know what you're doing is illegal. And then you continue to document every step of it in text and email.
Right.
Like there's certainly a failure in OPSEC somewhere along the way. But, you know, long story short, he was trying to cooperate with Kalashnikov concern in Russia to bring a bunch of parts kits over and maybe rebuild them here, and then maybe start domestic production of guns here. But then he was getting paid by Kalashnikov concern, and this was all after the sanctions during Obama that said that you can't. Essentially what the sanctions say is you can't have anything to do with the company or anyone in its employ or anyone who's like in proxy of its employ, so long as you know that they're in proxy of its employ. And he's like making it like he's having meetings with the
He's
CEO
like, hello,
of the company.
Kalashnikov, I would like you to work on my gun.
Yeah, and then he had a DIAC AN-94, which like you're kind of not supposed to have here, but okay, that's cool. And then he brought it over there to have them reactivate his DIAC AN, and admits to this whole
Bring
thing.
it back. But all right, yeah. So there's a lot going on here, and it's a terrible situation. Like, I don't think they should be kicking him around that much. That said, there are some things that are not happening here that people think are happening.
Yes.
So like a lot of people are like, oh, there's new ATF rules on the import of parts kits, and they're going to be coming after everybody who has like
any part kit that's from a sanctioned country whatsoever, regardless of the time period attached to it, which just isn't true.
So one, wrong. That's just not true. Two, stop reading ARFCOM. Stop going on AR15.com. Like, stop going to that website. So a guy posts, and I know exactly who this is. A guy posts this long thing about how agents came for his the ATF and IRS and DHS, and right, they all came and they confiscated his guns because they knew that he had an AK-12 kit, right? And they're coming for all these Russian guns, and they knew because of the postal records and like this whole thing, and people are freaking out. And I have like 3 different people texting me, is this true? Is this true? And then they extrapolate from that. There's new rules on parts kits, and that's why the MP5 kits that we just saw come in, that's why their trunnions are cut, because they're changing their minds and all this. And it's like, oh my God, that none of that is correct. Absolutely all of that is wrong. And the guy who posted the thing on ARFCOM then says, yeah, no, I've been in this detention cell for all this time. And then he claims in the thread that I reached out to represent him. and so I posted in the thread, I was like, one, it's nice to have fan fiction written about me, but this is obviously wrong because here's all the holes in the guy's story. And 2, it's obviously wrong because I would never offer to help somebody who lives in Nevada because they are not people. So like, but yeah, like people just straight believe that. And I have seen it everywhere about how this is what, like, oh, the new rules and you have to change the way you do it. No, none of that happened at all.
The way the import laws have always worked is still the way they work. Yeah, I think the reason that the story stuck so well is because like everybody who got AK-12 kits, like you get them in a very seedy way, and then you're not sure, like, was this legal or not? And like, spoiler alert, it's not really.
Yeah, the active importation was illegal. If you
in fact, it's probably violent, because right? If you reasonably know it's from Kalashnikov concern, they could probably get you on you intentionally violated export thing, even though this guy, potentially unbeknownst to Kalashnikov concern, is buying the kits and then he's cutting up these blank guns and then he's selling to them to you at like a 20% mark or 200% markup or whatever. He's like massively marking them up to make you pay a lot of money for cut up reject guns. Like if you knew that they were likely coming from Kalashnikov concern, they probably could get you on violation of imports or violation of sanctions rather, as well as
the stuff that's already here. It doesn't really matter.
Right. And then that's one of those things where like if anybody comes to ask questions about what the gun is or where you got it, just go, I don't know.
No, just don't talk. Like that's the best.
Forget how to speak
anybody
English.
could ever give you. Just shut your stupid mouth.
Just look
at
them.
You can't talk yourself out of it, but you sure as hell can talk yourself into it. Just like literally go catatonic. What are they going to do? They might hit you. That's what cops do. They hit you. But like, just let them hit you a little bit and just like what are they going to do? It's just like, and have someone there to be like, oh yeah, no, he gets this way. He has like bedridden screaming autism.
Just take your pants off and start taking a crap.
Yeah. But
tell him to clean it up.
So that's what's going on. Like, it's awful what's happening to Larry, but no, the entire world has not changed, guys. Like,
No.
you know, and the thing about when, because people are going to be like, oh, but I saw those MP5 because they're cut through the trunnion. There is no like magical ATF book that says where you have to cut these kits and exactly how much or whatever. There's guidelines, and so different importers cut them different ways. And we're talking about parts kits. And if you guys don't know what a parts kit is, wow, you're boring. But this is like where you can buy you know, it's essentially a gun that's imported, but it's cut up to the point where it's no longer a gun. And there's some kits that you can get where if you're skilled, you can repair the receivers, whatever. There's a bunch of MP5 kits that came in that were like, wow, cut up,
like chopped up in places that we've never seen MP5's kits chopped up before. So
right.
It's sort of weird.
And so people are like, there must be new rules. Where it's like, no, here's how it actually works. When you go overseas and cut them up, you're doing it you're doing it to avoid any problems. So companies that are more, I get what's the word I would want to say?
Risk averse?
Yeah, risk averse. They will overdo it, right? And the reason they do that is because if you do it wrong, then you have to pay for bonded storage at customs, like while you fix it, and that's wildly expensive. So they do it to avoid risk, and we see like companies that bring in kits because they're commercially rebuilding the guns themselves. They won't even like have the receiver at all,
right?
Like because they don't want to mess with it. They just bring in the parts. So that's what's going on there. Please, and I think two important things is if a police officer ever talks to you for any reason, just seize.
If it's about guns or drugs or where you got that car or do you have the license for that, just go.
Or what's your favorite color? Just seize. Just seize and like
don't even.
Yeah, just like literally seize and crap your pants. And two, stop reading AR15.com. Do not go there. Do not go to that website.
Go there and spread horrible lies.
Yeah, or do that.
Make up great stories. Get people to believe them.
You need to send us money.
That's
you need to send us money. It's important. Go on the Patreon and do that. Whatever. Or go on the MAF Corp and buy it.
That's true.
Yeah. Speaking of shilling. Whoa. Look what we got.
Wow, that's McMaster Hatsame.
That's right. Hatsune Mike McMaster from VZGrips.com. Slant grip is topical for that. Yeah, Patriot program. Anyway, you guys know VZGrips, longtime supporter of the show. Great Florida company who makes wonderful grips from G10 alloy. These will keep your hand on your gun. They'll keep your hand on your handgun and your whatever in the group zone, so you'll hit the ring, the 10 ring. That's faster. Yeah, the VZ Twister. Get the VZ Twister for your Colt Cobra. Look at that. That is quite a texture.
Damn,
I like that. That'd actually probably be pretty good for that.
Yeah, because that thing's probably not the most pleasant.
Yeah, does not fit Colt Cobras manufactured before 2017. That doesn't fit the good ones. But yeah, VZGrips.com. Use promotional code ThisWeek15. Check out what they've got available. We both have used their products, and we both swear by them.
That's a fact.
VZGrips.com. Thank you for supporting the show. Use code ThisWeek, THISWEEK15. So, next up, like, whenever you see a gun buyback event, right? Yep. Every gun guy has the same vision.
Steal them.
Yeah. Either that or like walk up the thing trying to spot any rare and good stuff and just offer a little more, right?
Yep.
Well, some people actually did it. Like this, and this was a gun buyback event in Texas, which like it was doomed from the start, right?
Yeah.
And what was great, this whole story is hilarious. the first car that pulls up had 100 Turkish single shot shotguns, which they were giving away $200 gift cards. And if you know about Turk Roach guns, the Turkish like single shot shotguns are like $100 brand new.
Yep.
So he was there to make some money. And one person actually handed in a Snyder rifle. They were warned that it was, hey, like that's an actual thing. He wanted the $200 gift card, so in it went. Another person handed in a high power. The police officer told the person turning it in it was worth much more than the $100 offered. She did not care. But then they ran out of gift cards, right? And even before they ran out of gift cards, people were wandering around just scouting for deals.
Yep.
This dude snagged himself a nice SP1, a nice Colt SP1 for a couple $100. Yeah, like about 70 to 100 firearms were purchased by private people just wandering around.
I wonder if that SP1 has that tri-prong flash hider original, because if it is, then that's worth a assuming that
Yeah, it's a
looks like
pre-band,
tri-prong,
so
right?
it's worth that's
Because if that's an original with the tri-prong, those are the early ones, and good ones make worth a lot of money.
the ones without the click. But
I think they only had, they had tri-prongs till 68 or 69. So it's like one of the first 5 years of manufacture for the SP1s. It's pretty nice.
fucking whatever. But yeah, like I just love this. It's just catastrophic in every way. Because one, congratulations, you bought many pounds of Turkish steel. Then you ran out of money.
Turkish steel?
Yeah, Turkish steel asterisk. Then you ran out of money and facilitated a private gun show. So yeah, well done. Jesse Marino, Dallas City Hall District 2 council member.
Let us know next time it's happening.
Yeah. Objective. Council member Marino is hosting a gun buyback program to help constituents safely dispose of unwanted firearms in the district. The district will buy the firearms and turn them over to the Dallas Police Department for safe disposal. Well, you did something. Did something. If only that were me.
I want to know how much they paid for the SP1.
All right, so yeah, I do wonder. It had to have been like $300.
Like if it's an original tri-prong, I've seen those go for like transferable Mac levels of money. It's just stupid.
It was in a line of somebody who's going to get $200, so I'm sure it was like $300. So.
Colt people are weird because they'll pay like 10 grand for them. It's kind of funny.
Colt people are, I hate them.
They'll pay 10 grand for the guns that didn't have any of the upgrades, like no chrome bore, no chrome chamber, all bad, nothing chromed in the bolt carrier. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's worth more money.
Yeah, boomers, whatever. So you found this story. This is great. How the gun industry targets kids using TikTok, Instagram, and video games, and which they've got a bunch of fake ads here that, I mean, I like them. Make dad jealous. And a little girl. So yeah, what is
Colt Junior 22?
And the Junior 15. So
yes,
what is going on here?
Sandy Hook Promise put together like a great big report, like it's one of their like, oh, we figured out the gun industry's evil game sort of things. And so it was essentially a dive into like how the gun industry advertises. Like they're trying to astroturf they're trying to astroturf something that they can use in defense of the laws that more or less ban gun industry from being able to advertise. And so it's like an astroturf attempt about that. It's like giving all the examples of how they put guns in video games. Then it turns out that they're like at one point in time, Remington and Activision did have like a company to company agreement. Like, we'll help you guys get accurate models of our guns and accurate sounds from our guns, and you'll put them in our game, and that'll make people want to buy our guns whenever they're old enough to buy our guns. Or like the game's rated 18, so just whenever they play the game.
Yeah.
So it's like a dive into the video games and the movies, and they're mad because only like 5% of movies show safe gun handling, which means like locking a gun up away from kids. Like would a
I'm
movie?
shocked that a movie would show something so boring.
So there was a
Less than 5% of movies show the proper walk around and buckling in sequence of starting an automobile.
That's true. There was a TV show, like the TV show version of the movie Shooter. They for a while the anti-gun groups were trying to like have Hollywood do their bidding for them. So I guess they gave shows money if they would show like, this is how you do a safe gun handling. And like in the middle of in the middle of like a bad guy's chasing the guy's wife scene, and they have to go hide out in a hotel, the wife and kids. The wife locks away the gun in the safe in the hotel room. And so, somebody, I think the kid asks like, "Mom, what are you doing?" And she says, "I'm ending family fire by locking the gun up." And then it's hilarious because the bad guys end up catching up with him, and then she doesn't have time to get the gun. And so you're just left there going like, was this supposed to make me want to put the gun in the magic box?
Yeah. You're like, all right, yeah, noted.
It'll just slow you down. Okay. It was just like a weird thing to see. But this report's more or less just like them encouraging there should be more of that. It's you guys should go and read it. It's on the Sandy Hook Promise website. They won't stop talking about it because they spent a long time on it. But like everything's bad. Like gun bunnies are bad. In fact, I agree. Gun bunnies are bad. Stop doing
Gun bunnies
that.
are bad.
But they were saying that gun bunnies are meant to advertise to children, and I was like, don't you guys like that though? Yeah. Isn't the sexualization of children good? But then it's guns, so bad. I don't know.
Wait, hold on. He is saying that while mocking.
Yes, I say this
establishment.
Yes, of course.
Just to be clear, but they. Yeah, this is why I don't go on Instagram. And a lot of you guys DM me on Instagram. I'm not checking that shit because I don't want to be confronted with piles of softcore pornography whenever I open the stupid app. But and that, don't call me a prude because I'm not. But yeah, gun bunny culture is terrible, but not for the reasons they think it is. It's terrible because it's demeaning to guns.
Yes.
Yeah, the guns deserve more respect.
There's a whole section on how like YouTube shouldn't allow videos of kids shooting guns. Like they perpetually crap their pants about the fact that Autumn's Armory exists. The report sort of came off being like women shouldn't be able to touch guns at all, because like they start complaining about women who aren't underage touching guns, and it wasn't like gun bunny stuff. It's just like, here's a woman shooting a gun. And they're like, no, it can't. It's an itch because she's attractive. Right. Actually, women have to be ugly as sin to touch a gun. Actually, otherwise we don't condone it. It's like, dude, you just come on, buddy. We get it. Your wife's atrocious. You don't have to write it in a report.
Wow.
Like guy can't see an attractive woman holding a gun without going like, oh my god, the kids are gonna love this or something. I don't know.
Who was that? Oh, that this
whoever
guy.
wrote this report. It's just so weird.
Yeah, Mark Fullman. Yeah, no, but hey, Mark Fullman could get the history of the AR-15 correct. The AR-15 is a weapon of war, originally built for highly efficient killing on the battlefield. The U.S. military produced it as the M16 during Vietnam.
The U.S. military produced it?
Right. You're more right than most pro-gun people.
That's true.
Yeah. Its design innovations included firing a relatively small bullet at exceptionally high velocity. Yeah, that was a huge innovation.
It was an innovation as far as the military hadn't adopted that before, but like the original the original small caliber high velocity program was in the 1920s.
Right.
Like in the 1920s, the Army figured out like, hey, you can get more energy into your target by making it light and fast.
Zoom. All right. Well, anyway, that's stupid garbage.
You should read it. It's a good funny haha.
No, I did. I did. I mean, there's a lot of words in there, but yeah, you guys should read it if you. It's always good to sometimes just take a look at how the other half lives. You know,
you have to protect your chillins from the evil guns. Send them to drag shows where there aren't guns. I don't know. They don't actually advocate for that in this report, but I'm sure they actually would. If they could, they would.
Yeah, they're like, no, they're already onto us. Stop right there. Stop it. Not an inch further. All right, next up, guys. Speaking of stupid garbage, MAF Corp. MAF Corp, unique creative epic. You know, MAF Corp was recently lied about by the state of New York. It
That's
is
true.
art website. Get the wind chime, especially the Amigo Verde. This is big. And this is, you know, something interesting we'll talk about later. Roller delayed can be simple and fun.
It's very nice.
You got to check out, you got to pick up the Amigo Verde. The Mr. Pistol 5 and K kits are available for sale. Everything is available for sale. Check it out. Go to maf-arms.com and use promotional code Foxtrot Romeo November to get a discount.
And there's a chime time.
Odor. What?
There's chime time too.
Oh yeah, that's right now too. So you can go to the Twitter Bird app and check out the chime time deals. All right, next up, the battle over California's assault weapon ban wages on. I just love how often we are our direct source, the California State Department of Justice.
It's my personal favorite way to get the highlight these stories, because it's just like pure unadulterated copium.
Yeah, it's like, and here's the beginning in italics. California's ban on assault weapon remains in effect, and then they begin to cope. Weapons of war have no place on California streets, said Attorney General Bonta. This has been state law in California for decades. We'll continue to fight they're very buck broken.
Yeah, so Benitez, I'm not going to call him Saint Benitez, but he is doing important work.
He's doing his job. He's doing what
he's doing his job.
Right?
Do. He's doing an honest application of Bruen, and I'd say he goes one step further by making his honest application of Bruen sort of force the Court of Appeals to also do an honest application of Bruen.
Right.
He makes his opinion harder to wrestle with.
Yes, he is, but he does still, all right, let's put the brakes on. So, of course, we talked about this before. The assault weapons ban was found unconstitutional, and Benitez immediately stayed his, the ruling, because he knew that the state was going to appeal.
Quo.
And so the state appealed, and they're upset, right?
Yep.
So this is going to keep going for quite some time.
Yep.
But I mean, it's going as planned, right? I mean, I don't think we would expect that when it went to the district court that now for like the third time has said this is obviously wrong. He wasn't gonna change his mind,
right? But, and his opinion was really well written. If you go and dive into it, I think it's sort of like I don't know, this one didn't strike me as masterclass as his opinion on the high capacity magazines that we covered last time, but it was still really, really good. And it was funny because he ends up comparing. Gavin Newsom was so mad about the fact that Benitez compared Bowie knives to AR-15s in his opinion, and then it's funny because the state of California's like best analog law for banning weapons, like under Bruen you have to find analogous laws. Their best analog was Bowie knife bans. So it wasn't Benitez that compared guns to Bowie knives. It was this guy, Rob Bonta. The state of California itself was the one who made this comparison. And then Benitez was just there to say, it's not a very good comparison argument that you're making.
I've never looked at his portrait. Why this man look like an Oblivion character? Like, tell me I'm wrong.
He seems like he's about to stunlock me with dialogue.
Oh, hello. Stop right there, criminal scum. This dude,
those are assault weapons. Surrender your assault weapons.
Yeah, surrender your assault weapon immediately, or pay the fine. Why does he look like that? Click for high resolution photo. Don't mind if I do. All right.
So they'll certainly go ahead and appeal. I mean, they've already have appealed to this, I think, at this point.
Yeah. No, that's what we were talking about, was the notice of appeal. That's what we read. Please take notice that we're very mad.
And so, I imagine that it's not impossible that they draw a good panel, and the panel's like, no, you won't get a longer stay.
Right.
But more than likely, statistically speaking, more than likely, the stay will continue, and that it'll probably take another year, and everybody will drag their feet because it's the Ninth Circus. But at the very least, this opinion is really well crafted, and the similar sorts of lawsuits now all across the country can point at it and say, hey, Judgy Wudgy, look at what they did over there. He wrote that pretty good.
Yeah. Hey, Fudge, look at the neat trick. He
said that you can't do a comparison here. That's cool.
Yeah, you should stop. All right. Speaking of things that should stop, we're going to talk about so there was the NASGW or something that happened, the show where gun companies go and talk about their guns, and Rob Pincus was there, and I reminded him that he is to give me a review copy. And so that should happen. But Zenith came out with this
thing.
The ZF 56 roller delayed blowback 5.56 rifle. And it's like
it'll stun. I mean, for people who are listening, you won't get the full thing, but like you look at this gun and at first you're like, oh, okay, I see what they're doing. And then you look closer and it's like, wait, no, they didn't do that. And then you look closer and it's like, no. Like it looks at first like it's just a drop in to an AR-15 lower roller delayed 5.56 upper, which is kind of a cool thing. It's not
that would be kind of cool.
I think it's kind of cool. Yeah. And in fact, I 3D printed one of those, but more or less one of those.
Yeah,
I got closer than they did anyway. Right. And so then you look close at this and it's like, wait, it's got an HK style selector on the lower still. Like you can't possibly get that with your thumb unless you're like an alien, a space alien could maybe use that selector normally.
And it's got fire control pins that are not the ones that we know and love.
Decidedly not AR-15 controls there. So like it takes AR mags at least, and it does have a bolt open because it's AR mags.
Right.
I'm curious to see how they actually implemented that bolt hold open, because if it bolt hold in fact, I can tell you here from this picture. They have the bolt hold open and impinge on the front of the bolt, which normally causes roller pooching issues, and that's why they've got that little beefed up section there to keep the roller pooching from destroying your upper.
Yep. That are you talking about the thing right behind
that's my only possible explanation for why that lug is there.
Yeah, because if you hit on the bolt, it's going to try to force your rollers to pooch outward, the same way your belly will after Thanksgiving dinner.
That's my guess anyway. So I'm assuming that's what they're doing. They could
just have a reverse HK slap. That's weird.
Wait, you can't slap it then. You have to slap it up.
Uppercut it.
I understand why they do that, because it means that you can put lasers on this without that being in the way of the laser. But like also, I'm shivering thinking about that.
Yeah, I'm imagining trying to use that.
I don't like it. So it's a proprietary lower and a proprietary upper that won't go on AR lowers. It is at least folding stock, because people care so much about shooting their rifles without a stock for some reason. So you can do that. It does take AR mags, which is kind of cool, and it has a bolt hold open. So I don't hate it.
And it's got an A2 grip.
And it does have an A2.
Right, but here's the thing. All of the machining complexity in a roller gun is in the bolt carrier group and the trunnion, right? The rest of the gun can be stupid simple and cheap,
printed in Chinese soybean plastic, even.
Yeah, or a piece of soup can pressed together and TIG welded along the spine. Even with soup can TIG welding made in Turkey, they wind up being pretty expensive, again, because of the machining complexity of those parts that are involved.
Yep.
So now Zenith, which has ended its relationship with the Turks, is coming out with this, presumably in the US, with the complex roller parts and machined components.
Yes.
There's no possible way that this is going to be price competitive with anything.
Yeah, I think so. So I've been brainstorming, like, why, like how would I pitch this to somebody to actually let, like if I wanted to make this for some reason, how would I pitch it to a company to like make it make sense? And I think what they're going for here is, like, market analysis should probably show them like PTR has been making roller guns for like ever.
Mm-hmm.
And then PTR is going to be doing a 5.56 roller gun now, I guess, again. And then Zenith is also making like an HK33 clone or whatever. And their clone is going to be better than PTR's as far as like being an actual HK33 clone. But I'm sure their analysis has showed them like no one's going to buy that, even if you make it cheap. Cheap for one of those is like $1,500 to $2,000. Nobody's going to really want to buy that because it's decided like a second generation rifle, like the AK. We're putting optics on it as like a. And I have to scratch your head and go, it's not really meant to have them, but like maybe here's a claw mount. Don't tighten it too much or it'll crush the receiver. So it's like sort of the screwball way about modernizing it. And so I imagine Zenith was like, oh, but we're going to be making all of the internals, the expensive internals for this anyway. Why wouldn't we make like a modern gun to put those in? Right. So that's what they came up with. And I have to be honest, I don't love it, but I understand what they're trying to do at least.
That's assuming that. I guess that it could be that, and I see why you might think that with the bulge at the front of the upper receiver, like that could be where they're just hiding,
right,
their trunnion. If it is that, kind of clever. You're dragging your mic around.
Oh, yep. Sorry.
But yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think they're gonna. Shall we make a guess bet?
What are we guess betting?
What do you think that they're gonna come out and price this at?
$2,700. $2,700.
Yeah, I was thinking $29.99.
I don't, because it's a proprietary lower and it's probably a proprietary fire control group. Everything on there is going to end up being proprietary.
Mm-hmm.
I just cannot see it being
and made
cheap.
in the U.S.
Yeah.
And then they said they will be offering the ZF56 in 5.56, but later they will offer it in the following calibers: 9mm, 10mm, and 7.62. And they did not clarify what they meant by
7.62. When it comes to the 9mm, I guess you kind of have to make it take MP5 mags. I guess no, you wouldn't. You wouldn't have to because you could do all sorts of weird stuff.
Yeah, it would either be 9mm or entirely proprietary. Just because
if they make it 10mm,
unless you're doing a weird trunnion.
I mean, I'm assuming weird trunnion is how they pull it off because that's how that Inkstad or whoever does the roller delay AR upper is. They make it work with Glock mags because it's just stupid and different. By the time you're making an upper that costs $2,500 or $1,700 or however much it costs, like maybe the guns are complete or $2,500.
Right.
You don't have to assume that everybody's like a poor person who can only afford Glock mags. You can make it take real magazines, actually. Even if it's like Evo 3 mags, right? Evo 3 mags are also super cheap. They're also good poor people mags. But like, come on, man.
Whatever.
It's atrocious doing Glock mags like that. But it'll be interesting to see what they do for 10mm mags, because your options for 10mm mags are like Glock mags or MP5 mags.
Yeah, and MP5 10 mags are like $1.8 million.
Ooh. Yeah, expensive. And then there's the new clone remanufacture ones, and the quality control is like not great. The mags curve, like normal like quote unquote banana mags, like the mag's supposed to be dead straight because 40 and 10 are like almost completely untapered. It's very, very close to straight.
Yeah, I just love that they didn't use an AR fire control. And the funny thing is, you and I know why. I
mean, I suspect why, but like if you look at what we've done with the MP5,
yeah, I know, but it's like, why could they not?
It's like machine one more cut on the carry. I don't know.
Yeah, why wouldn't they just do what we did?
I don't know.
It's stupid.
It's a big wonderment for me.
Yeah, you think it could be they're like, oh, but we don't want people having to modify, because if you make it AR, they're going to want to put aftermarket in, and then it's not going to work.
Well, so you don't necessarily have to modify the hammer if you have a
bolt carrier,
right? If you have a ramp on the carrier like the MP5s have to help it hump over the hammer,
right?
So it's just weird to me. Maybe the reason they would do it is because they realize it could be a problem, and so they prevent it by being a problem by doing a proprietary trigger. But like, come on,
that's terrible. Anyway, good luck, Zenith. I hope you have a nice time.
Me too. I look forward to buying one on CDNN.
Bang. Speaking of which, it's so far. Our Patriots, our Patriots, our Patriots powered Generation 2000 solar backup to your power device during blackout. 2x power expandable, never needs any gas. Look, what are you gonna do? Pick up the 4-page best-selling survival food kit, delicious tasting, designed to last for 25 years. That's longer than you were designed to last, idiot. They even have real meat, and the power's out. No worries. Boil the water with the fire, simmer and serve. You enjoy hot meat. Stay out of the thing, and you get to the seed vault. Where's the seed vault? Seed. Oh yeah. Wow. For those of you with a very small budget, get the Healing Garden Medicinal Seed Collection, only $6.92. This is your last chance, as I understand it. This is also your last chance to purchase the Floral Pollination Seed Kit, which is what they called me in the military. So, you go to 4patriots.com and use promote. Well, no, yeah, you don't have to go do with the code anymore. You just go to 4patriots.com/FRN, 4patriots.com/FRN to get your special deal.
You know, if you think about it, Power Grid has been successfully attacked using 50 caliber rifles.
Yeah,
Seed Vault,
that's true.
Jury's out.
Seed Vault.
If you have a Seed Vault,
it would just be inefficient.
The fact that multiple people have Seed Vaults, yet none of them have been attacked by 50 caliber rifles, would lead one to conclude that Seed Vaults, just having a Seed Vault, probably means that people with 50 caliber rifles don't want to mess with you.
That's reasonable.
This is not legal advice. Please consult a lawyer before designing your own home defense plan.
Just buy the Seed Vault. So next up, we got the New Jersey. We got several legal updates here for you guys. This is the court hears arguments in New Jersey's gun law appeal. And now you listened to these. What did the lawmen say?
So it was pretty funny. I listened to like the first probably 50% of it because like it ended up going on for hours and hours and hours and hours. But the state had much spaghetti falling out of its pockets. Like it almost surprised me as much as like hearing Illinois get roasted by judges and they just don't know how to answer questions. Like it's very basic questions that they could answer easily, but they just choose not to because like the non-committal position means that they won't have to like defend anything. But the judges ask them the good questions because this is a Bruen response law, and they were specifically at least early on.
What did the law cover?
So early on, they were specifically aiming at like the vampire rule thing, where it's like by default, all public places are no carry permitted, and that if the owner posts a sign that says "Yeah, you can carry here," then you can carry there. But like otherwise, it's left up to be like nebulous and uncertain, and you just assume no. But they were asking the state to justify the vampire rule and sort of saying like, could a business say that, or could you guys pass a law that says by default nobody can exercise their First Amendment inside of a business, inside of any business, inside of any public place, unless that business specifically permits it? And the state's like, oh no. But actually there's laws that say that like you can't post flyers on people's buildings. Some buildings say that you can't post flyers there. And then the government's like, or the judges were like, that's not what your law does though. What your law does is say that by default nobody can do a First Amendment. What you're saying is that some businesses say, hey, don't put flyers on our building. That's different. And so the state was like dancing around, and they sort of got tossed back and forth by the judges. I didn't necessarily get the indication. I only really remember two of the judges' voices distinctly on this panel, and I believe that they seemed like they were leaning against the state, but I suppose we'll end up having to see. It was just a funny thing to listen to. I wouldn't recommend listening to it because it was like horribly boring.
You don't want to listen to lawyers.
It was like horribly boring legal sophistry the whole time.
Why does New Jersey Attorney General look like that?
That's a good question.
Yeah, why is he like built in such a fashion?
He seems like he's like the bad guy boss at the office in an NBC show that they used to have at prime time, but nobody watched it, so they moved it to like 9 at night.
Yeah, look at him. He's just a terrible little tiny creature. I wonder what his grasp size is. What do you think?
30.
30? Yeah, 30. God, that's awful. All right. Whoa, next up, that's a good one. Next, Patriot Patch Company. Look, I got the original one on my mic, guys. And this is not the end of the show. We get to rejigger things around. We got 2 more stories coming on after this. But for right now, Patriot Patch Company, custom designed patches, apparel, and accessories for any freedom-loving individual. You know that they're good because they get banned from all the favorite social medias just like you. Just like you. And look at that. They are proudly supportive of Firearms Radio Network, and they have been a great supporter of this particular show for a very long time, even before I worked here. So go to patriotpatch.co, sign up for the Patch of the Month Club, which is a lot of fun. You get a free bonus patch this month. It's a bullet bill. It is a non-copyright infringing bill. Bullet image. Use promotional code TWIG10 and you're going to get a discount. That's a discount, TWIG10, discount, patriotpatch.co, funny vinyl patch, or PVC. Yeah, then it's the nice, soft, chewy PVC. Check them out. All right, next up, God. Oh, I just saw it.
Yep.
Oh! Look at the all new. What's the name of a gun company that still exists and is relevant? What?
Draco.
That's right. And Draco is known for their revolvers, right?
Yeah.
This is an example of a Smith & Wesson.
They say that Smith made people unequal and then Western made them equal.
Yeah, and that it was only him doing it until Eugene Colt came around with the M16. But so Smith & Wesson came out with this revolutionary new response carbine. Yeah, look at it. It's a AR pattern carbone.
It's
and yes,
something.
And yes, it takes Glock mags. Despite in the image it looking like
that's a Smith & Wesson mag.
The Smith & Wesson mag.
I guess they got different lower inserts or something.
Yeah, that's so terrible. But yeah, Smith & Wesson.
I hope they tried to patent that because other people have done that already. Like where the whole mag well changes out. And I hope they tried to patent that.
No, they this is just awful.
Yeah, it comes with 2 Flex Mag kits. Flex Mag, all caps. Please have patented that. They trademarked it. I hope you patented that, idiots.
Yeah, so the premier so basically, guys, you audio listeners, it's an AR9 with
ish.
I mean, do you think there's
I don't know if that upper I don't know if that's a standard lower as far as can that upper go on something else, but
oh yeah, I get what you're saying. It looks like a fairly standard AR9, very tubish, fixed buffer. I don't get it. It does have a flat trigger, but so yeah. Aside from that, the premier feature of the new Response carbine is rooted in its innovative and easy to install FlexMag TM system. Its design consists of interchangeable magwell adapters that allow the firearm to operate using a variety of Smith & Wesson and other manufacturer magazines. Included with the Response are 2 FlexMag kits that are compatible with either M&P double stack or G17 registered trademark / G19 registered trademark magazines.
It's a thing. Does it say how much it's going to cost?
Oh God, what do you think? How much do you think? Okay, what would you pay? What would you pay? Yeah,
I saw it.
What would you pay?
$500 because you know you can get of course PSA's AR9s are surprisingly expensive as well. Their AR9s end up being more expensive than their actual rifles, which is weird and not intuitive.
Yeah, I don't get that. It's $799,
which is kind of lower than I actually expected. Of course, no. I guess here's my question: that lower looks polymer. I wonder if it's a polymer.
It's gotta be that's that's what I saw too with that huge
right
tower in the back.
So if it's polymer lower and it's actually got a buffer weight, that's of course it's not a folding stock, so you have to assume it's reciprocating.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's a little bit too much money they're asking, but okay.
You know what I wonder?
That is just MSRP, so it'll go for a little less.
I wonder what if the upper is polymer.
Oh, it could be. Go to the Smith & Wesson website. It was linked there in that article, I think. Oh my god, that's a proprietary upper.
Oh no.
I think it has to be. Because the height above the charging handle looks wrong.
The S&W response is 5.9 pounds empty.
Of course, it doesn't. For an AR9, that doesn't necessarily tell you anything.
Oh no.
Yeah, that lower's decidedly fucked up. Please have patented that. Please have patented that.
Oh god, look at how proud they are of it. Bro, that shit's plastic.
But play that video of it. Play that video of it. Let's see. See if we can tell by the sounds.
Oh no. Sorry, that scared me. Oh wait, yeah, the close up
stock. Yeah, the stock is decidedly polymer. Like take
that shit's plastic,
oh
dude.
my god! Like, yeah, look at the upper. Look at the upper. Oh, that's so fucked.
Oh no!
I wonder how these are actually going to hold up.
Because it's obvious. Look at the way the upper buggles onto the Douglas.
Yeah, like it. Yeah, it's got a little notch there. It's very obviously glass fiber reinforced, which is probably a good thing.
Necessary.
Because the 9mm ARs being direct blowback are significantly more harsh on their parts because the thing moves around a lot more. And so, ATI had done polymer AR uppers and lowers, and they were metal reinforced, and it was for rifles. So again, a little bit less beating on the gun, and they break constantly. So it'll be interesting to see how these Smith and Response West and Westers do.
I do think that they've the way they handled the upper to lower made up is it probably is completely sufficient.
It's interesting that they didn't make it a lug there at the back.
Yeah.
So I guess they must have beefed up the takedown pins, but then because of all this, that's almost assuredly a proprietary upper that you can't put on regular lowers.
Yeah, I think that the whole thing is proprietary, which is kind of normal for them. Like their 1522s, right, are their own thing.
Yeah.
But the thing with it being entirely plastic is there's that other company that did that. I just bought one, the X-Tar.
Oh, right.
And we were making fun of that because they had wanted like $500. And the X-Tar is actually kind of cool because everything was
kind of
standard.
uninspired. And what would really kill the Smith & Wesson is if it's not 100% compatible with AR9 bolts and buffers and springs, it's done.
It's over.
Because the AR9 is kind of not a great gun. And the thing that can save it as far as making it a really much better gun is like putting an extra heavy buffer in there, and then they've got carbine AR-15 buffer tubes that have extra travel built into them that will let you then get the normal length of travel out of an extra long, extra heavy buffer, and then you can actually get an AR-9 down to the point that it's like not kind of miserable to shoot.
Yeah, they do stay kind of terrible to shoot.
If the Smith & Wesson thing isn't compatible with all that, especially if it doesn't take standard AR triggers, it's probably done.
I'm sure it takes standard triggers. Like Smith & Wesson wouldn't do that. Like that, they're not stupid enough. I don't think. I say that. I do sit here saying that. Anyway, God, this industry's so great, isn't it? So that's great.
Everybody was asking Smith & Wesson, when are you going to make another pistol caliber carbine? Since the last thing that they made was a pistol caliber carbine.
Yeah,
and now they've answered. It's right now.
Yeah, it's now. We already did it. Next up, guys, just a quick update. So New York City's own little firearm purchase permit regime was held unconstitutional. It was a May issue, good moral character, whatever subjective bullshit requirement that you get a permit just to possess firearms. That was ruled unconstitutional in federal court this week as well. At first I was like, oh, how is the government even like defending laws like this that are so clearly unconstitutional? But then you go, oh wait, right, yeah, they're using our money to do it.
Yes.
So that's just great. Next up, this is one of yours.
Yep.
What was going on in Illinois?
So it was just a really quick one. A lot of people saw this and like got all big freaked out about it, but like out of nowhere, because state of Illinois had done it's like you have to start registering your stuff now. The registration is open and then no one's doing it, so it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like the Illinois State Police are like releasing numbers on a weekly or bi-weekly basis or whatever, and they're really trickling in. You'd expect like a great big flood of them early on from the compliers, except there's not a lot of them. So it's kind of funny that that's happening that way. Though, like whenever at the same time
that you posted is Illinois now tracking the caliber of ammunition you buy.
Right. So is a part of them like starting this whole registry thing. All of a sudden, like whenever you buy ammo in person in Illinois, they're supposed to check your FOID card to make sure that you're not a big bad guy.
Yeah.
And so
whenever they regular non-illustrious bad guy.
Right. So normally when they plug that in, it was just like they plug in your FOID card number and it would tell you whether or not the person's FOID card was valid. But then out of nowhere, they started wanting you to plug in the FOID card and then the exact caliber of ammunition. And they had the list, like the greatest list of calibers, where it was like everything Ackley Express and like in Douglas McDouglas Fartelstein, like you've never heard of this. They had all of the weird calibers on this.
5 Dotatow, 5mm Velo Dog.
I mean, it was like wow, this is a really comprehensive list. But people saw this and freaked out because they were thinking that, oh, the only reason they'd be asking for this is because like if you're buying a lot of 5.56 ammo, they're going to start noticing that and they're going to be like, you can't be shooting that much 5.56 through a bolt gun. You haven't. You're hiding AR-15s under the floorboards, aren't you? And so everybody was like concerned about that. And then there was some like humdrumming going on from the the gun rights groups and Paula lizards and stuff. And then they went and checked, and then the state police suddenly dropped this entirely.
Stopped.
So like, I wonder what happened. And so certainly like the regular behind the scenes stuff. And then one theory that I saw that I kind of agree with is the state police didn't mean to roll this out till later, and then they accidentally rolled it out now, and then it'll end up coming back because they're just doing like their regular haha funnies. But and of course maybe it was just a scare tactic. Maybe they're like one level closer to Illinois State Police, or one level closer to being the Stasi than we realized.
Yeah, I like how it's funny that people the main poster in this thread is like, are there any 223 caliber guns that you wouldn't have to register that you have at home? And they like immediately link to the Henry single shot.
Yeah,
at least Illinois people have some balls because they're just straight up like, yeah, no, I've got one of these at home. My Ruger bolt action is 223 as well.
I have a Thompson Contender.
Jeez, who's buying ammunition in Illinois?
That's the other thing is like if you buy it online, the places online are supposed to check for your FOID card, but then also they don't have to. Like some places I have didn't, even though they're supposed to. And then they don't have to like go through the whole portal. They just have to like have the address on a picture, like a picture of your FOID card, and the address just has to match where the ammo is going to. They don't have to run it. So
right. God. Funny world. Funny world.
So they're trying to compel you to buy your ammo online or out of state or something. I don't know.
I hate the government.
Goofballs.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's it for tonight. Thank you all so much for coming. You guys should support us on Patreon. You should join the Discord if you do give us money, or if you can't afford that, I understand. Just subscribe to the channel and show the link to your friend. That's important.
And then go in the comment section and then comment your favorite piece of AR-15 lore.
Right.
And it has to be completely made up, but don't make it like, don't be too on the nose, right? It has to be something good, like the titanium's patented spec M16 firing pin.
Yeah, that's why the best one of those will get a prize, and I promise I'll pick the best prize for the other thing that I said I'd give a prize for. I recently cleaned my desk, so I found some prizes.
They're good
And
prizes.
guys, if you're an FFL or your local FFL takes credit cards, send them to fflpaymentprocessing.com. I guarantee they will save a lot of money. So check that out. It's really a good thing. Anyway, that's it for the night. Y'all take care.